Hi all, welcome back to my channel Servicenow Training and Placement. Myself Abhishek, I have total 8 years of experience in Servicenow application development and delivery. Today we are going to start a new topic of client script and we will see some use cases of one of the client script onLoad. So what the client script is? Client script basically executes on browser side. It is used to manage user browser forms and form fields. Some example of client script like we can generate alert, we can generate alert confirmation and messages. We can populate a form field in response to another field value. We can highlight a form field, validate data, modify choice list option, and many more things. So this is the interface. If we type here the uh, client script in the application navigator and click on this, we will land onto this page after clicking on new button. So here we can type the name. Here we can give the table on which form or the browser we want to manipulate the data. This is the UI type, like you want to execute it on desktop, mobile, or all, like both selection can be done. And this is a very important part of client script. These are the four different type of client script. So today we will see this onload client script. So onload client scripts executes logic when the forms are loaded. There were three main stages of any form. If we go on an incident form, so this is first when the forms is loaded. This is the first when the execution of onload client script happens. Suppose while creating the new form, also while opening an existing form from the list view. Suppose going on the list view, if you open any form at this time, until the controls returns to the user, the onload client script executes. If we change any field and on changing of that field we set up any client script, the on change client script will execute. And third is if we submit the form, on submit client script can be execute if we have written some logic onto it. So onload client scripts executes script logic when the forms are loaded. Few examples like showing alert when the form loads, making some field mandatory, visible on form load. Third is setting the logged in user. These are the few examples of onload client script. It can do beyond that as well. You see its flow diagram. User selects records to view, then form loads and it's populated with the recorded data. Like any form, it is getting filled with the information it fetches from this related tables, and then onload client script execute, and after that control returns to the user. Sometimes when you loaded any form and it's kept on loading, so it means that some onload client script is running on the background, and until the execution is finished you will not be returned the control to the user. So let us move on to the business use cases of client script. Our first use case is if user is a member of network group, set the assignment group as a network. So moving on to our personal development instance to demonstrate this. What does it mean when we load any form? If the logged in user is a member of assign network group, that assignment group we set as a network here. Okay, so it is not pre-populated now. So for this we need to build the logic and we will see. Sys user group. We will type network. Okay. Okay. So if logged in user is from any of these five member like the David Dan, Fred Ludi, David Lou, ITL user or the Wow Tagari, the assignment group should automatically be set to network. So this is our use case. So to build this use case, we first need to create an client script. I have given the name assign network group, then the table is incident. Okay, type is onload. Okay, so whenever we create it, the onload function will automatically gets created. So let's save this record and we will keep on modifying onto it. So the first thing is we need to check whether the member is network group or not. So it is the server side information we need to fetch, because that is member of is one of the function which can only work at the server side. First, this to check, either we need to create an script include to get that, to check that whether the user is part of network group or not, or we can also do this using the display business. Let me create a display business rule with g scratchpad variable. Let me tell you what this display business rule can do. Display business rule execute before that onload script, and it can provide that server side information to client side, so that even being on the client side, one can check whether it is a member of network group or not. So I'm just giving a name, check network member. Table will again remain incident, and I'll click on advance. So these options like the type of business rule, these are the type of business rule we will explain later on. So I'm just selecting a display and going on the advanced section for the scripting. I'm just saving it G. So is member is in method to check, and giving the group name as a network. So let me save it first. So if this evaluates true in the client script, going back on client script, g underscore form, I will set assignment group, set value, sorry, the assignment group. Let me pick the backend name of assignment group. And we need to pass the sys ID of that network. We can give some message, g underscore form dot add info message maybe. Assign and group is set to network as user is part of it. Something like that. So our work is complete. Let's validate it. Validate it. We need to impersonate with some user who are part of this network group. So there were 5 members. We can impersonate with any. Let impersonate with this Fred Ludi. Okay. So if we open any new incident, at least maybe, and if I click on new, you will see that the assignment group is set as network, and you will see an message top of it that assignment group is set to network as user is part of it. So we have validated our first use case. Let's move on to second use case. For second use case is caller and short description field of any incident table can only be visible when user create the form. Once form created, these form should be hidden, which means when we load any form from the list view, these field should be hidden because we are not creating the form that time. We just reading the values from the form that time. So for this to implement, we need to create an onload client script where we need to check once the form load is finished, these two fields should be set visible as in false. So let's move on to our personal developer instance again. Hitting on new client script. Maybe hide field. Hide field onload demo. Maybe I'll give description as well. Which field we need to hide is caller as short description. So we will check this. If g underscore form dot is new record, and we will set it to not. If and this is not the new record, what we need to do is g underscore form dot set visible. Set visible is to set the visibility for which field, short description and the caller. Let me check the backend name. Caller and user ID. And this short description. Okay, so if this is not a new record, it will check, and it will hide these two field after the form load is finished. So let's save and test it. Okay, if I open any existing record, see the caller and the short description field is not visible. Let me check some other record as well, similar to this as well. But if we create any new form, these fields should be populated. The caller and the short description field is available. So our second business use case is also completed. Let's move to our last business case. Business case is in problem table, hide related list of change request if logged in user doesn't have the change manager role. So we need to check whether the user whatever the logged in user is who is having that change manager role or not. Based on that, we will hide that related list which is present on the problem table. So let's see the problem table first. Let me close these unnecessary open tabs. Going on to problem table, problem.list. Currently we are on admin profile, and you will see these are the related list, and this change request is one of the related list which we need to hide. So again, for this to do, we need to create an onload client script. We can create it from here as well. Just go and configure client script. You need not to fill those field and all. Okay, so the table is already filled. Like hide related list, hide change related list. Okay, the type is onload again. First, we need to check the logged in user role. So for this to do, I will write if g underscore user dot has role is change manager. Let me go on to role table. Sys user. Okay. So based on this role, we need to perform action. Okay, if user doesn't have this, we need to hide. Okay, under this we need to provide the backend name of change request table, change underscore request. Okay, we will add that add else condition as well. If someone has this role, we will just simple return. Let's save it. So to validate, we just need to impersonate again. Uh, Let me go on to some user, maybe able tutor. So if we open any problem record, because that able tutor doesn't having that change manager role, we will see that change request related list is not available here. Okay, let me give this role to able tutor and see if our case is working or not. Okay, for this to do, we need to first end impersonation. See, it doesn't have any role. Now click on edit and add that role, change manager. Change underscore manager and save. Now we will impersonate again. So after the impersonation, if we open the same record again or any record, we will see that the problem record is loaded properly, and underneath the change request related list is also available. So this is all for today's lecture. We have completed all three business use cases. Hope you find this lecture very useful. So stay tuned with me for upcoming Servicenow videos. And I'll request you to please like, share, and subscribe and share it it with your friends if you find it useful. Thank you so much.